The inaugural African Karting Cup took place in South Africa this weekend. A total of 9 countries participated in the event at Zwartkops Raceway. South Africans excelled in the 2-day competition as they claimed all the podium positions in all 3 categories of the Karting Cup. SABC News witnessed the proceedings and caught up with the people of interest, including FIFA or the FIA Vice President for Sport, Rodrigo Rocha.
This is the first ever African Karting Cup. This karting cup is the competition where the best karting drivers from all Africa are trying to select the best one out of them. So we will have 3 main champions, if you can say like that, position 1, position 2, position 3, that will earn automatic tickets to the World's Finals of the CIK FIA Grand Final taking place later this year. So this is the first opportunity for the African karting drivers to get international exposure, to experiment an international grade event, and enabling them to, besides being crowned the champions of Africa, being enabled to compete at a higher level in the World Championship with the rest of the world's best selected drivers.
In terms of the countries that are participating in the event, we understand I can see a number of flags from different and various countries already. Can you tell us about those countries?
We have 9 nations participating. We have South Africa, the hosting country, and proudly this event was supported by the local federation, MSA. And we have Namibia, we have Botswana, Mozambique, we have Nigeria, we have Kenya, we have Angola. We have so many countries, Madagascar, and also a team from Seychelles that came to see how this event is being run, because they like to have their own national grid experimenting this event. So it's a very high ranking event, if I can say like that, with the best of the African countries that have karting in their national championship competing together, like select the best of them.
In as far as the sport is concerned, how is the growth of it in different African countries?
It's challenging, to be honest, because you see, we have different engines running different karting championships, and the drivers are used to the performance of their own engines. This cup is the first ever African Cup, also, and also the first ever African race event in karting, following the CIK specs engines, which is the OKN engine, which most of the drivers are not used to. So it's a growth process. We're trying to make it simpler and affordable for all drivers, for all countries, but it's something that we need to grow, and this is the challenge that we are facing, trying to get all the different championships to fall into one sort of engine model and race together like that. So it's expensive, it is, but it's doable with the current policy that the FIA is trying to adopt by making the sports available for more people and making possibly the duplication of motorsport participation within the next 2 years.
And in your country, Mozambique, how is the sports doing so far?
It's going well. It's not polite for me to talk about my own country, but it's growing well. The karting grid it's well. Also, racing circuit. It's now a very important series around the region. So it's growing well.
And then in terms of the racing courses and tracks, South Africa and other countries, what's happening there?
It's happening a lot. We can go to Namibia, for example, where they have 2 kart tracks. You can go to Botswana, they are building 1 track. Mozambique, we have a track with 3 different configurations. If you go to Madagascar, they probably have the best track in Africa in terms of configuration, where you can do like 13, 14 different tracks within the same track. So the infrastructure is there, the appetite for the sport is there, it's growing, and I believe that Africa has an important role in this discipline, karting, and in motorsport in general.
How far is the sport of karting growing in Botswana?
My name is Joseph Kengere. I'm from Botswana, the Pula Nation. I should say this is our first event we are actually privileged to be part of the African Karting Challenge. I must say we've learnt a lot, and between the past 3 or 4 weekends which we've been coming here, it's actually a wake-up call, not just to us as sportsmen in Botswana, but also our government, which says we need a racetrack. Our boys are performing quite well considering the time, and to the people that have assisted us to be here, from the parents, the fans, the corporate people, it's actually huge. And we are proud and honored to have this event in a developed place like South Africa. We are hoping that going forward we could also have it in our country. So the same exposure that South Africa is getting is the same exposure that Botswana will get. Thank you MSA for hosting us. Thank you to the Zwartkops Raceway and for FIA for making development in motorsport possible for Africa. Hopefully our next stop from here will be Botswana. I hope our ministers and our president could get a clip of this and know that, you know what, let the bandwagon grow and it goes back to motorsport as well as the country.
Can you tell us about the age groups of the different categories that we have?
Well, currently we have 2 main series, which runs from the OKJ, runs from the 11-year-old to 14-year-old, and the OKN from 15-year-old up until the driver can compete. We also have an invitational class, which is the Mini Rock, where the youngest driver is 8 years old and they can race until they are 11-year-old. So it's a quite from young stage that we take the karters to develop and be able to go into the best performance of their life, reaching the OKN class, which is from 15 onwards, and make this sport much more competitive, growing like every other sport. If you go to swim, if you go to triathlon, the younger you start, the better you become. Can have the example of Max Verstappen from Formula 1. He started exactly with karting, and he went from karting directly to Formula 1, even without stepping in the other classes. So anything is possible if you have talent, if you have the passion for the sport. The sky is the limit.
I've been racing for 4 years straight. 12 turning 13 this year. I like racing because it's my passion. And when I saw F1, I felt like, yeah, this is my thing.
I love racing because I like the high speeds that it gets to and the adrenaline and the competition.
So far this weekend, how is it like for you boys?
Very good. And good in competition as well.
And what makes you to love the sport so much? Where do you want to see yourself in the near future in terms of the sport?
I look up to a lot to Michael Schumacher, and my dad as well, since he was in motorsport as well. I'm looking forward to get into single-seater Formula 4 and then trying to get to F1 from there.
And you, young man?
Yeah, I want to do the same as him. I got inspired by Lewis Hamilton. He's my favorite driver. Right now he's in Mercedes. Next year he's going to Ferrari. I want to be like him one day. So maybe by the end of this year or next year I'll do Formula 4. Then later in the future I'll do F1.
The cost of practicing, the cost of the equipment and everything. Take us through that.
The expensive word, it's very relative in motorsports. It costs a lot of money, yes. If you want to build up a driver until they become go to the pinnacle of the discipline they're training, it is expensive, but it is doable, it is achievable, and above all, if you have talent, I'm sure that there's going to be some sponsors looking at you and bringing all the opportunities for you to race in a most comfortable manner, financial manner that they can. One of the programs that we have to help is, of course, bringing affordable racing solutions, and we have quite a few. This specific cup, you know, it costs the driver $500 to participate in this event. It's a arrive and drive format, which means that by $500 they get a karting, everything ready, and they just go. But we are having other programs that we are developing, like the affordable cross car, which is a car that can be manufactured according to certain specifications, and the cost for a car can be as cheap as $5,000.
Before I let you go, can you give us maybe briefly of the plans that we have for the future after this event?
Well, this event is going to be taking on a yearly basis. and we'll go through a lot of other countries to select a country to host the event for the next editions. It might be again in South Africa, might be in another country, we will see, but indeed it is an opportunity for all the drivers to compete either in their home country or in a neighboring country. But this program will run up in the African soil with the African drivers and to scout for the best talent we have in the region.
FIA for Sports Vice President Rodrigo Rocha.